Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We're at property address 15969 South Forest Haven Road. Sorry, I'm having a hard time setting up on the sticker bushes here. Anyway, I describe everything as if you are standing in the street facing the house. So in this case, you'd be looking at the garage. We're on the right side of the home from that orientation right next to the air conditioning unit. Now we're dropping into a 3-inch ABS cleanout. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running, and we'll start running into the water flow here in just a second. There's a whole bunch of fixtures running inside the house right now. Kitchen sink, bathtub, and I think a bathroom sink. That right there is the kitchen sink that just tied in. This is a unique style clean out. I actually love these things. I've been doing sewer scope for about 15 years. I've done almost over 25,000 of them at this point, and this style of clean out that allows you to come into the back end most part of the sewer line and go all the way out the other side are a miracle when it comes to, I mean, just simply either scoping, locating a line, most importantly for drain cleaning. You're able to service the entire main trunk line of the house without even going inside of it, nor do you have to go backwards through a two-way clean out to accomplish that. It's a fabulous thing from that standpoint. So far, nice looking sewer line. I've only seen just a teeny little bit of debris in the line. Otherwise, absolutely spotless clean. And being that I believe these are on septic, it's probably a community septic, it would be my assumption anyway. You just want to be extra vigilant. You're treating the line nicely. The obvious things you don't want going down there: wipes, paper towels, flushable wipes. You want to keep it to folded toilet paper. That's for sewer lines in general, honestly, but especially for septics. And the big one that gets a lot of folks is not putting cooking oil and grease down the pipe. Grease will gunk your line up in the immediate and make your line much more prone to blocking. But in the long run, what it ends up doing is it'll end up clogging up the drain field for the septic system. The grease floats to the top of the water and floats off into the septic. And then once that drain field's clogged up, there's very little you can do about it. Unlike a standard sewer line where you can jet blast all that gunk into the main lateral, septics dissipate off into the ground. So once you get to a certain point, there's just not a lot you can do about it. So my guess here is we're probably approaching the septic. It's very, very common for the last few feet of a septic line to belly out. Brand new or old, it's extremely common. About 90% of the lines I look at do that. Okay, so right here we're hitting a Y junction. So my guess, I'm gonna go locate, we're probably connecting in with another home. And if we reach that point, we're probably going to call it good here. We've gone through a lot of twists and turns. We'll see what's just around the... Yeah, if I can even round this thing. This turn's probably going to do us in right here. We'll see. And some of these will go for quite a ways. That's why I usually stop once I hit where another tie-in is. Sometimes the septic system is 150 plus feet away after 3 other homes have connected into it. Alright, yeah, we're going to go locate, see where we are here. Alright, I'm going to see if I can baby this thing along a little further. We're actually very close to the septic, but I believe we've already tied into the community line at this point. From the looks of it, there appears to be a line that runs across the back property line from right to left. From what I can tell anyway, that appears to be the direction of flow in general. That's from if you're standing on the road facing the garage. And then probably about, if I can get another 8 to 10 feet here, we should see the septic connection. I can see the tank lid. So right at the, it's not on this slip, it's the slip adjacent to you. Right at the back of that slip there, you'll see a big fenced-in area. In that zone there is where the septic system is. And where I just picked my camera head up, we were just shy of going through that fence line. Yeah, now we're starting to see a little bit of gunk at the top of the pipe, which is pretty common when you start approaching a septic system. Now, if we're in a community part line right now, I don't have control over what the neighbors are doing. So this is mostly just to see how this is looking out here. Once we come back into the individual branch of this home, I can get water turned off completely, but we may have some neighbors running water is what I'm getting at. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go do one more locate, but we should be sitting, I just, not being able to see terribly well right now. And not knowing if that's a true septic or if it's a pump station that pumps over to a septic. I just don't want to go pushing my camera into any mechanics. I'm actually surprised we haven't hit the tank connection yet. Alright, we're going to go locate really quick here. I'm going to let the line drain off at this point. Alright, so I can't get all the way through that fence. It's padlocked, but I can reach over the fence with my locator. We're sitting about 2 feet from the septic lid right now. Anyway, there is some bellying there just prior to the septic. Like I was saying before, it's extremely common. I mean, ideally you don't have a belly at all. But whether they are brand new or 100 years old, I see the same setup in nearly every septic line I see. And when you're at a good distance, we got that to drain off pretty good there. That drained out to actually fairly minimal amount. We got some more water, I think, coming down line here. And in the shared part of the line, again, that's my assumption, just the way we wide on that other pipe. I don't have control over the water flow through this part of the line. Either way, pulling back through that, even with water running there, we are barely exceeding an inch at its worst point. A lot of that actually drained off to far beneath that. I'm going to pull back the Y connection here, just locate that just to get an idea of the orientation of the line. Alright, so where we hit this spot here is in the backyard area, very, very close. Like if you were to go walking through the gate on the left side of the home into the backyard, just maybe 3 to 5 feet, it may not even be 5 feet in through that fence gate there, up against the left side fence line is about where the line hits this Y connection. And then the line travels over, it kind of does a little bit of a loop around, it looks like. I'll try and do a little bit of a diagram on the report there just to give you an idea as to how things are laid out. We've got a little bit of water still trickling into the line here, tiny little standing water there. And my main focus here is going to be up to that Y connection, but you do have a minor belly there. Again, water is still running, so what you've got there is maybe a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch of water for a few feet. That's not the kind of belly I would ever recommend repairs on. And you can see how clean the sewer line is too. Very, very clean line. Where I generally start recommending repairs on bellies is once there's an inch of water for at least 5 feet. Even at that point in a plastic sewer line, it still takes quite a lot of doing on the homeowner side to get a blockage to result out of it, or at least have that contribute to things. Alright, do another locate there just to get just a route the line takes. So the line exits out the back of the home. If you were standing facing the front door in this orientation, that would be the left side of the house. I'm referring to all this as if you're facing the home from the street. So shoots out the back, cuts towards that left side fence line, hits the Y connection, and then that community line does not run perfectly straight across the back of the property line. It runs at a bit of an angle. The line there looks like it cuts back in front over where the gate to that septic area is, and then turns and shoots into the septic tank in that orientation. A little bit of a slightly convoluted configuration there. It doesn't run straight into it, but that's just how it's laid out. And some of those locates there at the very end, you got to take with a little bit of a grain of salt. I can't get back into that fence, so I'm working with some limited info, but with the amount of locates I've done, that appears to be the configuration. Alright, we're going to go ahead and reel the camera on out of here. This is all interior pipe we're going through right now. Again, another teeny little belly there in the line. In fact, we may have some water running again here. Yeah, we do. Need the dishwasher just turned back on. So with water still trickling to the line here, you're still only around a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch of water there for just a few feet. And the bellied part of the line, the part that I can call the more significant standing water at the end of the line, that's one of those scenarios there that would require some talking to the HOA or the park about. That does appear to be community by that point. That's after the Y connection. And that stuff right there is some gunk from the kitchen sink drain. And because water never flows from this clean out, there's no fixtures prior to that point. And that stuff kind of splashes down from the kitchen sink. Some of it will divert backwards up the line. And then when you don't have water flow coming in behind it, it just stays there. So that's in general why that debris is still there. But it's not at a point where I'd recommend you clean it. It really isn't doing anything to affect functionality. Alright, good flow all the way out to the Y connection in totality, including the community part of the line. You have adequate flow to the septic system. All the pipe we just scoped there that's prior to the Y connection, all of it is in good shape, intact. 2 super minor bellies in the line, both of which are a long ways off from repair worthy. And it's an extraordinarily clean sewer line to boot. Keep up what these folks are doing here. Keep the cooking oil, greases, and fats out of the kitchen sink, and you can keep the line looking nice and clean like that. That's the big one anyway. Wipes, paper towels, stuff like that you want to avoid too, but grease is one of the major contributing factors to buildup. Anyhow, sewer line is functioning properly at this time.